imagine all the girls and the boys and the strings.
Hi everyone, I have a fantastic guest here today, Jane Teresa Anderson, who is a world-renowned dream interpreter. Her website is dream.net.au, so check it out and let's get stuck into it. But first of all, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure, Ingrid.
Yeah, cool. So I want to talk about the important stuff, which is sex and love and all that juicy business. So can you tell me, if you're dreaming about sex, as I often do, what's it about, and can you sort of generalise that at all?
Okay, so, well, when you dream of sex, the most important question to ask is, if you've got time for questions when you wake up about it, who was I having sex with? Now, most people at that stage then go into panic, oh my God, I've got to go into work and I've got to face this person, and did they have the reciprocal dream? You know, have I got to be embarrassed
dreaming about
here?
my older boss who's married with 2 kids.
That's right, and that's,
right.
And that's actually quite a common dream. So you have to take a deep breath and go, okay, everybody in a dream is not who they appear to be. It's all about me. Everybody in the dream is about the dreamer. So you ask of the person that you're having sex with in the dream when you're awake, which 3 words would I use to describe this person's personality? And you might say...
Oh gosh, annoying, intimidating, but charming.
Okay, annoying, intimidating, but charming. Now,
I know what you're
was
going
the
to say.
sex, in a nutshell, was the sex good or bad in the dream?
Good, but I felt a bit overpowered.
Okay, good, but felt overpowered. So when you have sex in a dream, it's really bringing an aspect of yourself on board. It's integrating something into you. And if it feels good, that's good. If it feels bad, it's like, why am I being like this? And you felt a bit sort of overpowered. So it's probably, as you said, annoying. What were the other 2 things you said?
I think it was a bit arrogant. But there was something else. He was charming.
Charming.
And yeah, sort of a larger than life character.
Larger than life. So it's that feeling of, oh, I'm bringing on my larger than life self. I'm charismatic. I'm all these things. I'm bringing this on board. That symbolises sex in the dream. But it's also a little bit annoying, and it's a bit overwhelming, and it's a bit overpowering. So you wake up in the morning and go, is that what I'm doing? Is that what I'm uniting with? Is that what I'm bringing on board? How do I feel about this? And most people have the sex with the boss at work dream, not because they fancy the boss or anything like that, but because you're working with your...
It's a bit upsetting almost, and a bit yucky, really.
It's yucky, you want to go and hand in your notice. But when you think about it, you're either working with your boss, 8 hours a day, or either with them or remotely or whatever. So all the issues that come up with your boss are then, played back into your inner self. So if your boss is, for example, overpowering, you're going to have one of 2 responses. You're either going to be overpowered and become meek and mild, or you're going to get overpowering back. So,
I have to override him. So if I want to override his masculinity in a way, that there's this particular person we used to have a lot of conflict as well. But it's not to do with him, it's to do with conflict about myself,
so
right?
So it's all to do with you.
So I'm trying to override my own self or something. Maybe my own fears about being powerful.
And then you feel uncomfortable about that, because that's why you're slightly uncomfortable about the sex in the dream. And then when you're awake, you say, well, is that right to be uncomfortable about that? Have you got fears about being powerful? Can anybody be too powerful? And you just ask all the questions around that.
Okay.
And go into work feeling comfortable that the other person hasn't had the same dream.
Yeah, oh gosh, no, that would just get messy. But yes, I've had a few messy instances at work. But anyway, back to then processing the dream, like you were saying. You've asked some really great questions. So are there like 3 questions, or is there a way through journaling? What kind of advice would you give to really learning how to do it in a really constructive way so that we can get the messages that we need?
One of the simplest things that actually goes the deepest is you say, for anybody in a dream, whether it's sex or anything else, anyone appearing in your dream, particularly if you keep dreaming about so-and-so, you say to yourself, okay, which are the 3 words that describe their personality? You write down those 3 words on a piece of paper.
Got that.
And then you write down the opposite to each of those 3 words.
Okay.
So for overpowering, you might write... Don't think too much.
Amicable.
Amicable. Now, it's funny because when you answer quickly,
Yes.
it's not always the correct opposite, it's just
Yeah.
what comes up for you.
Yeah.
So you write down, say, overpowering, that's one extreme, amicable, that's the other extreme. You do the same for the other two things. And then you look at those lines and you think about the people that brought you up, your mum, your dad, your guardians, and you put a little X on the line. Where was my dad in that line? Was he right up here? Was he 10 out of 10 for overpowering, or was he 10 out of 10 for amicable? And you put the little cross where you think, and then you do the same for your mum and other significant people, and you usually find that you've either got one at each extreme or they're all crowded up one end, and you think, that's interesting. I was brought up with this issue,
Yes.
and both my parents were overpowering, so I've spent my whole life trying, I am so not going to be like my parents, I'm going to be amicable to my detriment. Or you might go, I like what they do in the world, I'm going to be overpowering too. So for each issue that you've got, it's usually very insightful to discover that you've actually been brought up with this issue, and you put yourself on this line, and that alone like opens your eyes and go, oh my God.
So in every dream, would you suggest bringing in the element of, your parents to decipher what it means, or is that?
Not for every dream,
No.
just for a really powerful dream you've had, or
Yes.
for a character that keeps coming up.
Okay.
Simply because it's your parents or guardians that have the greatest influence in setting those early beliefs. And they're the beliefs that you often struggle a lifetime to cut free.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's another video I think that we'll do about how do we cut free from those beliefs. Okay, awesome. So, well, thank you so much.
I think we've gone from sex to mum and dad.
I know, which is really kind of a scary kind of conclusion. But anyway, we're going to keep going with this because I absolutely love having you here. So we're going to do another video and we'll see you soon. And thank you so much, Jane Teresa Anderson. Remember, it's dream.net.au. Jane Teresa Anderson has a fantastic blog. Is it?
I've got a blog.
Radio, also blog.
I've got a blog at janeteresa.com.
Okay, you got that.
And I've got a weekly podcast show called The Dream Show.
Oh, it's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Imagine all the girls